Say sorry to her.
Sound?
Yeah, we can hear now.
Great, okay.
I think so.
We definitely need
Oh, it's like slowly but surely getting the sound back.
Yeah, we can hear now.
Okay, yep. Okay.
Beautiful.
We definitely need to improve on our microphones.
Hunter.
What?
Is it playing into the mics or is it into the camera?
Well, because it's
The
in
camera's
it,
down.
it's the camera
Yes,
mic
I'm
now,
wondering.
so we don't have to hold the mics.
Okay.
We definitely need to
Here we can
put
put that.
microphones.
Which that means we all have to talk one at a time.
Okay, we're all good. Okay, now I turn that off.
Back to the movie.
Yeah, so as we
Okay.
totally said that you all could hear.
Redo.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start. Okay, welcome to Back to the Movie. Things have obviously changed around here as Brian is no longer with us.
Rest in peace.
Well, he's alive.
But, you know, it's 10:15, he's probably in bed. So let's hope he has a good night's rest.
I don't know. He's probably watching to see if we
He's
actually
probably
did well.
one of the three. Is he one of the three?
He could be one of.
Is he one of our viewers?
And if you are one of the three, thank you for supporting us, Brian, in this endeavor that we are not
Oh,
going to
there's
fumble.
two now. Stuff I Stole got sound now. I don't know who
Wonderful.
that is.
Thank you.
You know what? That could be my supervisor.
we
So
appreciate it.
supervisor, cool.
So who are you?
Yeah.
And why are you here?
So,
Yeah.
my name is James. I am the new clubhouse assistant. I work here at Club Odyssey, part-time, of course. But it's been a lot of fun so far, and I'm very excited to be a part of this show.
Thoughts on the movie? Can you do a basic rundown? Because to be
Yeah.
honest, I don't really know what I just watched.
So, what movie did we watch?
eXistenZ.
Right. Which was one of David Cronenberg's, I believe, what was it, 1999?
Yes.
So, as we know with Cronenberg, there's a lot of body horror. I wouldn't call this horror per se, but definitely it's supposed to be gross out stuff.
Yeah. Very creative.
There was one of us, probably half a dozen of us in here or so tonight, and every single time these people's back holes were shown, we all cringed together. And that's how you know we're bonding as a family.
They definitely looked like buttholes or something.
100%.
Just on right above the short or pants line.
Yes.
Just right above there.
Yeah. It was right where you shouldn't.
It was
have a
definitely, it definitely meant to make you a little bit uncomfortable. It definitely,
Yeah.
And some of the phrasing of the sentences were definitely feeling implied to have a bit of
Out later.
yes.
A little bit. But yeah, so brief rundown of the movie. We are following two people. It is Jude Law's Ted Pickle, and I don't know the name of the actress, but she is her name is Allegra?
Mm-hmm.
Allegra.
Like Velgar?
Some weird nonsense name.
And Pikel.
Yeah, that one, I know a guy with that last name. But, so Allegra, she is the world's greatest game designer, is what we're introduced to. And so we're going to follow them in their journey to figure out what is real and what's not, because there's a group called the Realists hunting Allegra down, because they see that her creation of a virtual reality world. There's many layers to that, and it gets complicated and weird and funny. But what would you say your favorite part?
Favorite part?
Yeah.
I don't know. I did you might probably agree, but the introduction of that weird little creature guy.
Yes.
Of, there was this little tiny, I guess it was chameleon lizard conglomerate.
Frog and salamander, I think they said.
Yeah.
But it's a mutant amphibian specifically.
So, in the context of the movie, there are these things called game pods, I believe, or was it flesh pods? I don't know. There were these organic game controllers.
It's very sci-fi. If
Yes.
we didn't mention it, it's very sci-fi. So
7 viewers, guys.
that's the most we've ever had.
So, these are effectively like a game console and controller all in one, but they hook into what's called a bioport in the base of the spine. That's the back holes that we were talking about. But they're made with, in universe, they're made with mutated amphibian DNA. So the little two-headed guy that we've been talking about that they are being made from. but it was very cute.
Yeah, we also get like kind of a view of what this possible like development of these game pods would be like a very like brutalist,
Very not vegan friendly.
very we were talking. Oh, where are the vegans in this world? But they would be probably the realists,
Right.
definitely. But it's definitely not like a pro vegan film. It just did, yeah, but definitely very like reminds you of high school science class cutting open your little frogs.
I thought it was interesting because it was definitely trying to have like actually into yourself
Yes.
rather than like, oh, you put on the headset and it like
Right.
takes over your brain.
Right.
I mean, maybe spoiler alert, maybe more realistically, but yeah.
Oh, was that?
At the end, it was.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say.
Oh nope, just kidding. I didn't say
Scratch
anything.
that from the record.
Nope,
Nothing
that
was
happened.
said.
Nope.
What did we say?
I wasn't even here for it. But yeah, so the idea is like, how far does creativity fall when that creativity warps the perception of our reality? I think it was mostly a film about not getting lost in your own fantasy world. But
it puts you in kind of those shoes because
yes.
you as a viewer are trying to figure out what's going on, and it's purposefully not letting you know what's going on at all. It doesn't give you any sense. Well, it kind of gives you a couple things to piece it together, but not really. It's not really like a murder mystery.
It
or
felt a
puzzle,
little
but-
bit as if, like, because it could definitely be compared to Inception type of way.
Mhm.
Yes.
It felt like someone was watching Inception, they got like 20-30 minutes and paused it, and then grabbed somebody that was just outside the room and just like, okay, you're going to watch this with me, and then started playing at that point.
Yeah, I will admit. So I came into the inciting incident, which is an assassination attempt on Allegra, the game designer, and it's like, what is that? Because all these people are in this room just touching these weird flesh blobs, and they're like,
And they're like alive too, so they're
Yes.
like wriggling, and the people are also wriggling because they're like moving in pleasure. It's weirdly a lot of sexual undertones.
It was
but-
beautiful though. It was something to walk into, and I was not let down by
Like,
that.
as soon as they went into the
Fine.
game world, it's just like, oh, just do whatever feels right, like whatever your body's telling you to do,
Right.
and then like they are just fully like at each other
And-
immediately.
Yeah, you bring up a fantastic point. So the idea is that this is an alternative to reality, but there are points in the movie where nothing happens until they do what they're supposed to do. So by escaping into this game, do they truly have that freedom of escape, or are they just being told to follow a script? So
Because like it did have like the NPC thing of like, oh, you have to like specify their name or like say
Yes.
specifically what they know and answer to.
But also, like, without spoiling, I don't know how that makes sense within the context of the world. Once we realize what the world is,
I think you're supposed to just. Go
I guess that makes sense. With you don't have any control, do you?
right,
You don't.
are you truly in control of your own life?
Maybe not at all.
And like I think that's just like pretty much as soon as you start it, because it brings up like, oh, this is like the practice setting, the
Mhm.
practice people that were setting this on. So like I think
Like
you
a
kind
test,
of
yeah.
go in being like, oh, this is already going to be like, are we in the real world type of situation?
Yeah, and, like,
especially especially with like or at least in our generation now, like we've seen this kind of tropish thing of like, oh, are we in the real world, are we not type of thing. So for us, I think it was a lot easier to go in being like, oh, are they already in the game world?
Right,
We don't fully know, but we're already questioning
Which is a
it.
fantastic point, because in 1999, this very well could have been treading new ground. But for a contemporary audience here in 2023, it's like, oh yeah, I've seen this. Yeah, it's they're in another world already, and it's almost, I'm not going to say played out, because it was still a lot of fun. It was really interesting to watch. But I think you're right. We had an easier time digesting it than we.
But we've already seen that.
But exactly,
we
we've
had
seen
a
it,
reference.
and we know, like, okay, it's a world inside of a world inside of a world. So this is what we call it, gameception.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is very interesting how, like, they kind of envisioned, like, the evolution of this technology. Because it's also very interesting because within the context of the movie, she's like testing the game. Because although she creates the game, it's almost as if the game is alive. So she's using these test subjects to figure out even what her game is. Like she doesn't even know, which also makes the viewer being.
Something that I noticed and I wanted to bring up, and I'm so glad you brought it up. So we mentioned earlier the two-headed little critter that we all loved. In that same scene, I believe you actually made a comment, maybe someone else, but it opens with her hand on a wall. And
I didn't
then,
make the comment, but I remember that.
yeah, somebody made the comment. Was it you, Sam? Sam, our wonderful AV person back there, made a comment saying, like, yes, that is a wall. Exactly right. And she smells some gasoline. So she's getting that sensory feeling. Then she kicks dirt. She throws a rock to see how it bounces against something else. And then our little guy walks up, and it's like, yes, what is that thing? And it removes you from the moment of her testing the game.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. I like that. But also, that brings up, like, arguably
we're-
my favorite character.
Spoiler alert, we're not supposed to know that they are in the game at that point. They're not. We don't know that they're in the game at that point.
So,
What's the game?
what was your favorite character?
Oh, God, I love Gas.
Gas. Okay, Willem Dafoe's Gas.
Yes. He was,
Yes.
like, I feel like whenever Willem Dafoe is just kind of on
Yeah.
the screen, his, like, facial expressions and stuff, like, if it just works well with the character, then he's just going to do really well with it.
Right.
I guess you could say, like, a Nicolas Cagey type of thing, but in this case...
He's over the top.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
over the top, but,
Yeah.
like, it's not as corny as Cage would, like, make it out to be.
Well, Cage
kind of
is a lot of, like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Ah! Very screamy. You bring up a good point, though, with Defoe's face. He does a lot of acting with his eyes.
Mhm.
But something I love, that the way it was shot. So, I will spoil this. Gas betrays Allegra and Ted, our heroes.
Or does he?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know.
unclear. Truly by the end. But in that scene, he's betraying them. And up until the moment of betrayal, he is always featured with a very soft, warm light on his face. But as soon as he starts, like, has the shotgun pointed at them, he steps forward, and you can see the light turn into, like, more of a pale, like, grayish, cool tone, saying, like, he's going from, like, this warm, friendly character to cold-blooded and potentially dangerous.
Wow, you have really extreme media literacy.
I want to say...
I was a theater major.
I was a film major, and I don't even get that specific.
I'm going to sidetrack for just a quick second, and I'm just remembering the thumbnail for this is for the other thing that we watched.
Oh,
and we
yeah,
started.
Oh,
Okay.
yes,
Are you
indeed it was.
You got 2 minutes.
I
before
got
you
2
clock
minutes
out.
before I have to
I
disappear.
just remembered that.
Where Brian was yelling at me in the comments to fix the cropping. This time, that's why I was laughing.
Happy to help, Brian.
Um,
Aw,
but
Happy to help.
Brian's watching.
I'm not
He
saying that.
helped fix it.
I'm not saying that for us to stop talking
No,
about
no.
this movie, but like.
So I also came in late for that other thing as well.
So, do we want to get like our quick?
Let's do a quick turnaround. So we had a preamble to, I'm not going to try to pronounce it, Cronenberg's 1999 film. What was it called?
So it was called the Amazing Digital Circus. It's a brand new pilot for an indie animated type of film.
Came out 7 days ago.
Yes, for an indie animated series that's trying to pick up. I don't know if it will be picked up or anything yet, but
I hope so. I genuinely enjoyed it, and you should watch it.
it is really good. It is part of a fairly new production company called Glitch Productions. It's the fourth animated series that it's working on currently. The company is in Australia, but it's the second non-Australian thing that they've done. Their most popular thing currently is something called Murder Drones, which is all fully on YouTube that I haven't watched, but it looks
I saw the thumbnail for it when we were.
it looks so good. Everyone loves it, and like I want to check that out, but that's not what I'm talking about. So the show got into production based off a YouTuber that goes by the tagline Gooseworks, which they're an independent musician and animator, which personally, like, one of my favorite things that they worked on is the animated pilot for Has Been Hotel and Hell the Boss. Like, from Vivzy Pop or Vivian Madrano, and they did all the music and stuff for that, which is impeccable in my opinion. I really like that. But besides that type of stuff, the Amazing Digital Circus is essentially about people that are stuck in this weird digital circus, essentially, where there's a person that is kind of their ringleader that gives them stuff to occupy.
It's alluded that the main character is trapped in VR because she's trying to pull up. The first thing she does is try and pull off like a helmet.
And then some of the other characters mention about like, oh, just keep pulling at. That was our first thing when we entered this world trying to do. And there's the ringleader named Kane who kind of just gives them kind of mundane like trying to have adventures to not try and think of like how do we escape this kind of thing.
And the adventure he gave was it get the gloinks?
It was capture. It was like collect all the gloinks.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And these little creatures were just like different shapes. They were cute.
They steal things.
They steal things.
Kind of picture like the little blocks that kids play with, like that you try to put the star in the star thing, the square in the square thing.
That's exactly what.
But they have little googly eyes.
Yeah, they're very cute. And they made little cute noises like that kind of thing. So this adventure, none of them care about. It happens, and they're like, okay, yeah, you go handle it.
And
even
we have
other things to do.
One person gets fully disassembled.
Yes.
Their character model is like trying to go with like I think the '90s like mix and match, like of like
100%.
the very colorish types of stuff, and like immediately gets assembled, and then the three not like unhealthy mentally.
Yeah.
There's a character that's missing. I don't know. He's some kind of like clown guy.
So the clown was literally like behind like I guess like questions and stuff about that character was literally only introduced to bring up like this is a thing that happens.
Right. The pilot, they have to show that there's stakes.
Yeah. They kind of got to show a little bit about the world and the past, and they do. They show it happens. It has happened, and shows like this is a cycle that repeats. So it makes you kind of curious about why, how will they get out? Like it makes you want them to keep making more.
There is some. So the creator said some like. So they described it as they described the show as I guess there's like a short book or thing that's called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream with the aesthetic of an I Spy book.
That's amazing. I love that.
So if you want to talk about that first thing, like because I don't know what that thing is actually.
Of like I have no mouth, but I must scream. But I've heard it said a lot in a lot of media, and the whole idea is that it's like I am in peril and I have no way to express that. And that I think translates to a world that she was not prepared for in any way, shape, or form. And everybody's so casual about it. And she's like, no, how do we get out? And they're like, oh, we'll go see this guy. He'll be cool. And in this world, this is a digital world, if you lose your mind, you turn into a creature. Literally called it an abstracted. And so they get there and he chases them and almost kills one of the characters. Yeah. And you can see that she is glitching out really, really bad. So it's this horrible situation that this new person's thrust into, and they have no way to get out of it. They have no way to scream. Yeah.
There is like I guess from like other indie animated I don't know if anybody in the audience really. So the voice of Jax, the rabbit guy.
Yes, I was curious.
So he's the voice of Angel Dust in Hazbin Hotel.
Okay.
And Michael Kovac, that's his name, or Kovac, however you say his last name. He's kind of known for being like in a lot of these pilots for a lot of these like smaller indie types of things. Like I mentioned, Hazbin Hotel. I don't think he's in Hell the Boss, but he's in something called Lackadaisy, which is also really good. Murder Drones, and just a whole bunch. Like usually, if there's like an indie animated pilot type of thing, he's usually like they kind of get the voices too.
He's there being a part of it.
And the voice of I guess you could say like the main villain of this specific episode, the Clone Queen. That's actually a girl doing that voice.
Really?
They probably heavily like modified and
Right,
stuff.
right.
But I believe her name is Elsie Loveback, who plays the main character and has been in Hotel Charlie.
I will say, with the reveal that these cute little shapes had like this, I'm gonna say like insect-like queen, consuming the things that they would steal, was so funny to me.
Yeah,
It's like, we found the coin hole, and they all look down. It's like, what's down there? It's the
I
queen.
don't want to go in.
also she, the creator, she said that it had like the Stanley Parable has like some
I
effect
felt
of
that.
how they
Yeah,
made some of the stuff.
it definitely.
So the Stanley Parable is a video game that heavily like it's kind of gets very what's that?
Trippy as hell.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
trippy
very.
and also very
What's it called again?
the Stanley Parable, where basically like pretty much every action you do will have a major effect of what's happening, but it's always the narrator that like I guess breaks the fourth wall, essentially being like, okay, well like you're doing the thing that I told you not to do, so I guess you could if you watch like a little playthrough of it, you'll see the comparisons and stuff to
It's
this.
also very funny.
Yeah.
The game?
The game is very funny.
We
'Cause-
have a comment
Yeah.
from someone called Everything is Creepy.
Sure.
They
Everything is
said, I
creepy.
have no mouth and I must scream. The premise is AI takes over the entire world. Only a couple humans are left, and the AI keeps them alive as playthings.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Love it.
then yeah, I feel like that fits that really well.
And that especially because Kane, in a way, the one that's giving them these adventures, as he called it.
I mean, yeah, it is. Maybe he is AI.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I feel it's very likely that he is some sort of AI, but he's effectively playing with them. Yes, he seems to be very absent-minded and not a part of the adventure. He shows up later and it's like, what's going on here? But he is saying like, hey, go have fun. This is the fun thing you do. Much like how a kid would be like, all right, Barbie, you're a spaceship operator today.
Yes.
Like that kind of thing.
Or like how some kids will play like that with their parents. They're like, well, you're gonna be
Yes.
this character,
Right.
and now you do this, and then you follow what they want
It's
you
all
to do.
playing pretend.
Sorry, I just have like a list
Don't
of like I
apologize.
guess like fun facty type
Yeah,
of things
we're here
for
for
it because
fun
I
facts.
wasn't
You're
gonna.
a real
remember.
YouTuber now.
So Jackson Gangle was the one with the comedy mask and the sad mask
Yes.
type of
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
So they were inspired by another thing where there's characters of Poppy and Kidamono from some Japanese show called Poppy the Performer, which at the surface it looked like that it was going to be a kids show type thing, but like
Is
it
that the one that
sometimes-
Saber Spark did a video on? Because I
He-
think I
probably yes he has
the
done a
really
video
weird
on
one,
it.
and it was like really weird with like guns and
Yeah,
like,
it
death
had
and,
like it looks kid friendly, but has a lot of adulteral types of like there's
Yeah.
blood, there's gun, like
It-
it just kind of
so
does like a "don't hug me, I'm scared" kind
Right.
of.
so they said that they were inspired by that.
The two designs of Jackson game.
Because in general, like the whole feeling is like that. I've watched someone talk about that. I haven't seen it. This feels a lot more enjoyable than that does. Like this feels better. Fans of Poppy's, I guess.
Yeah, they're.
But I don't
they're
know.
probably an
Come
interesting
at me.
crowd.
But yeah, I think this is better.
Also, I have all their canonical ages. If you want to know.
In a moment, yes. I do
Did
want to make
the
a point.
creator
Yes,
say
the
that?
creator has said this. These
Is
are all
it-
things the creators have said. Like the
They've
Like-
lead.
exposed the whole thing. There's no mystery anymore.
Well, like
What their ages?
Yeah. How long has who's the oldest one? How long have they been trapped?
Kingler. Well, I don't know how
Okay.
long they've been trapped for, but like
How old is he?
he's 49.
Okay.
Like,
that's
is that
reasonable.
based on like
That he the
is just then, or how like what age he was when he got sent there?
based off their Tumblr, they didn't think that far ahead.
Man,
Well, to be
they're
fair-
already they haven't had the budget to finish the series. So
To be fair, we've only seen the pilot. They very well
Yes.
could have thought ahead and just don't want to tell us.
tell us, yeah, exactly what is
'cause-
specifically.
As we know, in animation, a lot of it is to draw the eye,
It's
and
thing.
Because Brian commented something. He asked if you guys liked eXistenZ.
I did. I think I gave it the highest rating out of everybody, right?
I think
Give it
you
a
did
4.5.
4.5.
4.5 out of 5. It was fun. I like the gun looks like a chicken wing. I thought that was really funny. It made me hungry. I also like that it shot teeth. That was really cool. Calcium being the bullet to kill somebody, and then they turn to calcium because skeletons. Very cool to me. They didn't turn to skeletons in the movie. Decomposition happens naturally. But no, I really enjoyed it. Though I think it's the first Cronenberg I've sat all the way through, and because I understood the quirks of the director, it was easier to watch. I think
this is my first Cronenberg film. So I guess maybe that means that this was a good one to start with.
Yeah.
If you could actually sit through it. I don't think I want to watch anymore.
I don't get like squeamish or anything, but like unless I'm like very excited to watch a movie, I will sometimes be like, I'm not really feeling it, and I'll walk away. Doesn't happen all the time, but like there's been movies that I start and I'm like, I'll play this again later, and I just never do.
Okay. As for the question,
Brian wants you to be on Letterboxd.
Okay, so this was a conversation last week.
this is going to be on your performance program.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a friend who's on Letterboxd, and he doesn't shut up about it. And for that reason and that reason alone, I refuse.
But this
Just
is
don't
your
tell
job.
I can't. I
This
can't
is
do
your
it.
job, James.
I can't review movies.
James, this is your job.
Okay, how
now.
about this? Whenever one of us reviews the movie, you just add
That you watched it.
Yeah, you just add onto while one of us is making our review, we just give you
I'll-
our phone, and then
I'll
add.
just write at the bottom, also, me, James, thinks this.
Yeah,
and they'll
exactly.
be like, is James a caveman? Can he formulate sentences?
Exactly.
And I go, me, no, can't.
Also, the last thing, this isn't really more of like an in-depth thing on the circus thing, but Gooseworks is trying to make it like a very non-toxic type of community. That is
That's
good.
That's really
that is
important.
like their utmost.
I
key
saw in their comments that people were mentioning that they're scared of what the fan base will be. Is that why
They
know that
are
their
a little
fan
bit
base?
because I will definitely say amongst the indie animated community types of it, it's either like child of a show.
Right.
It's like they'll be like lashed out a lot.
They form like a parasocial relationship when they shouldn't. They should just enjoy the media.
Yeah, like I guess
Yeah.
you could arguably say like the Sonic movie, like when everybody like was just like that is bad, like arguably so, and then like it got so bad to like they actually changed it.
Yeah,
but you
but
could say
that
that was
was-
good
that
for
was
the
It
best.
was
good.
definitely it was a positive change though.
I just remember that Jim Carrey was not so sure about the idea that the audience impacted
Yes.
how it happened.
That's
prior.
fair.
Though I feel like in that sense, like this medium, the Digital Circus, it's a completely new project, and the people that have flocked to it are people that are passionate about these animators and the projects they've made. Whereas, in contrast, we look at Sonic the Hedgehog, who I think the first game was 90,
Yeah,
91?
definitely a lot more people.
And so,
had those
for
years.
almost, 30 years? More than 30 years.
There's been like a fan base.
There's been a fan base, and we have had changes in Sonic's overall visual design, but we know what Sonic the Hedgehog looks like.
Yeah.
So seeing the creature that was Sonic for a brief moment in time, the audience saying that is not the character we love is important. That people are allowed to make their project be however they want it to be.
I'm personally, as the one who suggested the Amazing Digital Circus, I am surprised of how well everybody actually did enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was
Oh, yeah.
scared. He was thinking that.
I thought
like
people are oh god, people are I thought people would be yeah, it was all right, but I wasn't expecting no, that was throughout it you were even
It
saying
was
just,
unanimous. It was unanimous.
so what's the rest of it? When's it coming?
Yeah, it was unanimous. Everyone liked it, and we want to watch more.
I will say it was a lot of fun watching Hunter watch it, because you could tell how nervous he was. He kept sweating, he kept gulping really loud.
Well, it was just
Because
there was
he pre-watched it.
yeah.
To see whether or not we would like it. So probably when he was watching it originally, he was trying to watch it through our eyes. and then being scared. Like,
Because
It
like
was just fun. It was
like,
a whole fun
I
experience.
watched it by myself too, and there wasn't times where like I really audibly laughed, but like I did find it humorous.
Right.
But like I was hearing like people actually laugh
Yeah.
multiple times in here, and I'm just like, oh my god, like they're at like it feels like I didn't make the show, but I'm just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
people like it.
It's really nice when you show somebody something and they see what you see in it.
Yeah.
But I will say, in defense of me making noise watching things, I never used to.
Mhm.
But I will bring you back to, I think, 2005, 2006, when Happy Feet came out. And my grandmother, she loves penguins, right?
Mhm.
And she brings all the grandkids to go see Happy Feet. And before the movie starts, we're in the parking lot, and she sees a kid with a Mumble toy. She charges this kid, and she yells, "Where did you get that?" And I realize I'm becoming my grandmother. So in this movie, she's just like, "Oh, oh, don't hurt him! Don't do that!" And she's just losing her mind, mortified. But now I am my grandmother mortifying my grandkids.
it's fine. This is a good space.
And
for
I don't
it.
know if this, I was trying to think of it because there was less like talking during Circus than eXistenZ.
You can
Yeah.
kind of tell the vibes of a movie based on how much we talk. Like if we genuinely enjoy it, we're pretty much silent. We did kind of enjoy eXistenZ,
I liked it.
but it's like genuine, like fun enjoyment. Like what's going on is different than like being invested. I wouldn't say I was invested in the story. I was along for the ride, but I
Yes.
didn't really
Yeah,
care.
that's fair.
But with the Digital Circus, I cared. So it's a difference between a lot of random things are going on. They're both kind of like, oh, what the heck is going on? But one makes me care, and one doesn't make me care.
And this
One we don't care about at all.
who isn't
Yeah,
with
we
us.
had 3 choices, all based on like a different notion of what Digital Circus was, because we wanted to tie in Digital Circus somehow. So eXistenZ was basically the whole VR game digital world. The second choice was Cube, so being trapped.
So I might watch that later date.
Yep.
Cute, it's fun.
And then the other one, Fraud?
Frauds.
Yeah.
Frauds.
Which just purely based off pretty much like the
Carnival vibes.
carnival vibes and poster that looked like just like I think it's like a guy jumping out of a jackpot
Yeah.
or something.
Which I love that those were the choices because, like, the one we watched, again, I'm never going to try to pronounce it. I know I'll trip over it. But it made sense in terms of, like, a digital world. Cube being a choice was great because it's the idea of escaping from a prison.
Mhm.
And then I love that you guys were just like, yeah, we like the poster for this one. So, like, that's enough. That's all we need.
Like I will say Brian is fully to thank for those 3 options.
Right.
Like, yeah, let's just try and like make like a movie that's connected. I immediately call Brian. I'm like, hey, like so
Here's your prompt for our movie
That's
choices.
so funny.
I mean, usually we wouldn't really give Brian a prompt. He would just kind of come up
Yeah.
with movie choices. So I think sometimes he does appreciate like a good theme.
It becomes like a challenge almost to
Yeah.
find something that, like, one, you think people could enjoy, which is what was so exciting for you for the circus, because it was something we all enjoyed quite a deal.
Can you ask the chat, has Brian actually seen eXistenZ?
You can ask the chat; they can hear you.
Ask Brian right in the camera.
Brian,
Brian.
have you seen this movie?
It's-
Also, I didn't answer your question yet about whether or not I liked it, but have you seen this movie?
it's not on your letterbox.
Now,
So we didn't know what you thought. We were very
It's
curious.
not on my letterbox either.
That's
now we wait and see if he's actually here.
We're just gonna listen.
you can go first.
I guess I can say like what I actually thought about it.
Yeah,
I still really don't know. Like I think it's one of those.
I just don't know.
I,
Do you want to
That's-
watch it again? We'll be back in an hour and 37 minutes.
We
guys.
just all just turn into
I think it was like fun. There was points like I really don't like movies that are overtly sexual.
You're supposed to go.
I clocked out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm
not trying to kick you
No,
out.
no.
Sorry.
I really don't like like I'm not like against sex. It just makes me uncomfortable in like a movie situation. So I hate like the noises. They're always like extra like noisy, and I don't like them. And everyone who watched movies with me knows that I don't like them. But yeah, so when those scenes happen, especially with the weird body horror stuff that happens, it did make me very uncomfortable. So during those scenes, I was like, okay, this brings it down to like 2.5. But then the rest of the movie is like fun, and I'm like, maybe that brings it up. So there's parts that I hate, but there was parts that I enjoyed, and that makes me, I don't know.
Well, I think that's good though. That like a movie can make you feel both positive and negative emotions. Because let's say the whole movie, it was only negative emotions. You may not, unless it's very introspective, you may not look back at that movie as fondly. Where if a movie gives you only positive, it's like, yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah.
And then you forget about it.
Well, my baseline for bad movies is always Close Calls. And he likes
I'll
it.
accept it. I'll accept whatever you say.
He rates it as a 4, and I think it's. I always. This is my baseline for like what he likes and doesn't. I can't, but it stuck so much in my brain that it's like, is it really that bad of a movie? Because it very was stuck with me, you know. I do like this more than Close Calls. It was more enjoyable than Close Calls. Close Calls strikes this very
Well, that's not surprising.
in-depth.
Wait, what is Close Calls? It's like
Well,
just give me like a 1 minute recap.
No.
Okay, I'll just say very simply that the main tagline for it is that there is a teenage girl that is left home alone because she got in trouble for something, and the phone rings. There's a lot more than that.
Okay.
Like that, buddy. That's just scratching like the top of the iceberg.
So
like
that's a lot of fun.
It's
okay,
wild.
I'll have to watch it.
You might like it.
I'd probably.
You might like it. I will hate you for it.
I feel like, honestly, James, I'm agreeing with Corinne that
I think
you'll
you
probably
might like
lean
it.
towards more liking it. You will probably just think it's long.
See, I don't think I've seen a movie that I genuinely am like, I will not watch that movie
It's really weird.
James, this movie has fully split this building.
It's
again.
one of those movies.
If you go back to movie,
I'll take a look.
You will see that it is Corinne, Brian, Riley, and myself.
And
2 of us really enjoyed it, and 2 of them just absolutely despised it. Riley gave it a 0.5 star on Letterboxd.
so Hunter,
What's up?
for me to go back, what are the socials that you need to plug right now?
Socials that I have to
for us to know where to go to look back at the older content.
this channel.
Well, this channel specifically, but if you want to see the clips of, like, on Instagram or on Instagram, it's Club Odyssey Ontianta, all one thing together, no
Okay.
capitals. And then on TikTok, it's Club Audi, CLUBODY.
Love Adi. I love it. Okay.
And there is a Facebook, but I don't know if really
We don't
have
post
that
the
stuff
things
on
there.
Facebook. But I guess for
You can see some of them on our YouTube
Yeah.
shorts too. Okay, what was Brian's comment?
Brian's reply was, I have, but I was a young.
We wanted our opinions about whether or not, would Brian like this? I think
I think he
yes.
he would
maybe.
lean towards liking it. I feel like he might give it like a 3.5. Like his
He
baseline.
wouldn't rate it under 3.
Maybe I'm too
He
forgiving.
would rate it at least a 3.
Everybody's hating on it, and I'm
I said
like, I
4.
like hater.
Okay, so you have to understand like how our rating systems kind of like. I think we all
I'm
like.
just excited to be here and hang out with people, watch movies.
I feel like
so. Maybe that's.
Corinne, you can
Maybe that's why you need a letterbox.
Oh my god.
Corinne, you can objectify this, but I think 3.5 is like we'll recommend that.
Right.
3 is like you're pushing towards like being bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, 3 is like, okay, it was fine. 3.5 is like, okay, I'm gonna enjoy this, but I wouldn't want to watch it again. 4 starts to be in like a rewatch territory for me, and like I like it more. 5 is like so good. I like it. One of my favorites.
So good.
I think the one that I rated the lowest was maybe 1.5, and it was Night of a Thousand Cats.
God, that was.
Oh my god, I don't know what that movie is, but it just shot into my brain. So there was a film. There's a lot of films that were filmed in Tucson, Arizona. We used to have a major movie set studio. It's now an amusement park. Old Tucson. Yeah. But in Tucson, a film about giant rabbits was filmed, like wolf-sized man-eating rabbits.
I know what you're talking
Was it
about.
the
The
Lagamore?
curse of like the were-rabbit?
No, it's like Night of like the Lagomorphs or something.
It's not Lagomorphs. They are Lagomorphs,
Right,
but
that's
it's
what-
another word
but yeah,
for
Oh, is
bunnies.
it like that La Llorona or whatever?
No,
No.
it's
The
not
La
that.
Llorona
Brian
is
knows.
in
Brian,
local folklore.
chat. What's
Brian?
the name of the
But-
movie? Because there's a scene where they had to make the bunnies. They put it in slow motion so it looked like the bunnies had more weight.
Yes.
And then they
Yep.
splice it with the people like running with the bunnies. I like the premise, but I think in regards to animal cruelty, they
Night
bad.
of the Lepus.
not
Night of the
good.
Lepus, yes.
Yeah,
I
because like
watched
they
that.
physically
Rights
do
for
hold
Brian.
bunnies with their ears, and I like bunnies, and I don't actually want to watch it because animal laws in movies wasn't as good back then. But,
And that's something that we should always bring up when we critique a movie is like by our values in 2023, I don't like that either. I wouldn't want to see that in a movie made today. But that was made in the late 70s, 80s, I believe. And it's like, I'm mad about it, but I can't be mad about it because it's like the laws were different. Like, example, The
But
Abyss.
maybe they should still have morals.
Maybe. But The Abyss, the James Cameron film, there is a liquid in which it's highly oxygenated and they can breathe in this liquid. They put a rat in this liquid, and it is all real. And you see this rat panic as it does not know what's happening. It thinks it's drowning, and then it calms down because it's realizing, oh, I'm oxygenated, I'm fine. But there's like moments where it's like, whoa, that's... And I believe that was the late 80s, 90s. So it's like, that's not like
Maybe
cool.
that's not okay.
Like, we're
I mean, he
getting
was
more to the,
fine,
like-
but also like.
It's crazy, honestly.
But also that also gets in the whole like animal testing and things like that, because sometimes they have to do stuff like that for like animal behavior
Right.
in general
right.
to learn more about the animals, and it's like it's like you love the animals, but also like people who do a lot of like research on bees and stuff, they love the bees, but then they also have to kill the bees in order
Right.
to help the bees, and it's
Yes.
like
Well, that actually rounds us back to
the VR.
eXistenZ. Because in this world, in this virtual world, we see it's called Trout Farm, and it used to be a trout farm, but now it's where they make those fleshy game pod things that connect to people's bodies, and they're taking these like creatures, these mutated amphibians, and they are chopping them up. They're splicing, ripping them apart.
Yeah,
into
at least
this-
this movie didn't use.
really, yeah, it was all fake, thankfully. But there's a scene, and Hunter, you commented on it, because it's a practical effect, and practical effects always look really good if they're done well. Where it was a pretty basic looking, it looked like a fish just with like more teeth, I think, really.
Yeah, like they were like they like show like a split second of right before the person was about to cut it, but for like that split second, you can still see that it was like moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
For being like kind of an oldish movie, I was expecting it to just be still.
It was moving. It's likely that they made an animatronic or something
It looked
akin
like
to
it was
a
still
puppet,
moving
Like,
when
it
it
where
looked
got
they
like
hit.
can just,
Their cut from like switching it out to the thing was like
that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's cut.
impeccable.
I think
to
that was
my eye.
purely because that's Cronenberg's style. Is that it's like he'll have layers and layers of these different things. It's like you rip and it's like, "Wah!"
Mhm.
So it's like having a little like fish guy just going like that. That's child's play to him.
Yeah.
It's just like you have a little thing
That was
that
part-
you can even just go like this with your hand, and it gives the illusion of it wobbling, and just cuts head off, and then there's just. So I did like that. I mean, I didn't like it, the head getting cut off, but I did like that effect. I thought it looked very, very good compared to the back holes, which I hated.
I will say, with you, James, I think Back to the Movie is probably the bit most on track.
Yeah.
And we only got off track talking about other movies.
I don't know. I was off in a different world with the Abyss here.
No, you're
Uh,
not.
it
No,
was
like we're
still
still
in relation.
the realm of the medium that we're talking
Because
about.
we're living in end of a virtual
Copyright,
world.
no.
See, even with that, you were still on track. So,
Less than 10 seconds.
What?
Copyright.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I changed
Thank you,
the lyrics,
Sam.
so it's under
maybe
parody.
it's because Brian's not
fair
here.
fair use.
I will just say,
Ryan always gets us off track.
for
And
just
Riley.
Ryan, we're coming for you.
Mhm.
one more thing about like the indie anime, I would like since it went over so well, I would
About
like
the what?
Indie.
the indie animation.
Oh. I thought you said about the Indian. I'm like, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
no.
It lost me.
Since Digital Circus had such a good appeal, I would like to kind of like incorporate that like a bit more of just like showing it, showing like a
short.
showing like
I
a short
have
or
one I would
something.
suggest. It's been out for a while, but Artist Switch. You can kind of say both ways. It's very,
Is it like
very
a sandwich?
good. It's kind of a it's kind of a play on art witch. It's basically like a glorified music video, but it's
Okay.
very, very fun.
Okay.
And it's one of those series. I wish they had more. They had a lot more they could do with it, but they haven't expanded on it. They did do a couple shorts, kind of showing what the characters have done after the season, but it's very good. So I would definitely recommend at least watching the first. And,
Okay. I just feel like because indie anime, like we all know like Disney, Pixar, like like all the real big heavy hitters, and I feel like unless you're part of these like indie anime, like unless you're following these things,
it's kind of like a cult classic in a way, in its
like
own
you-
little community.
yeah, you don't
it's
really-
related.
you don't really know about like personally like of like the specific ones I've mentioned heavily, like Has Been Held.
So you keep mentioning the pilot. Is it only the pilot,
So
or does
Has
it
Been-
have a?
So it's going to be a bit of an answer, but short answer, yes. Has Been Hotel has had the pilot out, I think, ever since October 28th, 2018, I think. It's been on YouTube for essentially 5 years at this point. And we just, like, a week or two ago, just finally got it announced that it's not just getting 1, but 2 seasons on Prime Video.
Mm.
And currently, right now, if you're, if you're like a really big fan and stuff of it, like you want to try and get it as soon as possible, there's like 3 tiers of like, I guess, pre-ordering types of stuff you can get for it. That is never going to be like released with it again. Like the bare minimum is it costs $6.66 because hell.
Like 666?
No,
or
$6.66.
Yeah.
Where you'll get.
Are you gonna buy it?
Pass it.
You've been a fan of it for a
Yeah,
while.
I really have. Like, I really try to like push this.
Yeah, and you
just
want to
into-
support them. Maybe
It's
you
less
should.
than
I
$7
will
bucks,
definitely.
huh?
I'll do one of the tiers, but $6.66 is the one where you get with Vivian Madrano, the creator, you get like a exclusive Q&A with her
That's
type
cool,
of thing.
though.
I don't think individually,
Only
but,
for
like,
$6?
Yeah, and you also get
You're gonna want that info.
you
That's
get
solid,
early
honestly.
access to episodes 1 and 2.
Okay.
I will definitely probably be getting one of the tiers. I might do the most expensive.
Go for it. How much is it?
It's like $76.66.
I take it back. That is kind of really expensive.
And then in the middle, it's like $46.66.
Right, so how are we feeling about the movies?
Oh
So-
yeah, we finally got off track. Well, no, it's related.
Well, it's still like.
Well, ultimately,
Okay, we can end.
Well, I guess like wait,
Kill
we
it.
didn't give our ratings for Circus.
We made ratings for both of them.
for the circus and well,
eXistenZ.
Well, we said
So-
the existence.
I know, but I mean for
eXistenZ.
live.
Oh, for like just the ending of it.
yeah.
Kind of. Okay.
Yeah, 4.5 stars out of 5 for Cronenberg's eXistenZ.
You
See,
said
I
close
can't
enough.
even
You
say
got
it.
it.
It's too hard.
eXistenZ.
And I would say for
The Amazing Digital.
the Amazing
Circus.
Digital Circus, I keep wanting to say the Incredible. The Amazing Digital Circus. Again, I came into both of these probably like 2 minutes late into each. I don't know how I managed that. But I will say there was a lot of things I really enjoyed about the circus. I like calling it the circus. I think it's
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, it's a lot
Um,
easier to say.
I do think that with a clear art direction in terms of like the backgrounds, I would have enjoyed it a hair more, but it seemed like they just had color for the sake of it. And didn't have like a clear logic to that. Which I mean, obviously it's an illogical world. Like it was all like one realm, like under this big circus tent. It felt very disjointed from each other, so I couldn't really like see how everything was connecting, and that's
That might be on
an
purpose.
appeal of
Especially with
animation.
like there's a good amount of time where they're walking down like where all their rooms are and
Yes,
stuff.
yes,
That since you point that out, it does seem very jarring. Of like, oh, we were just in, I guess you could say like a playground kiddie like kid like place, where like you put your kids in like a little playpen and stuff, and then all of a sudden we cut to like we're in this weird, I guess you could say maybe Shining-esque kind of hallway, but like very playful and still very
Yes.
bright and
Yes.
kid-like. But you could also see the little thing when they're walking down the hallway. You'll see on some of the doors, like they're characters that we've never seen
yes,
before,
yep.
and there was
I didn't
X's
notice
on
that.
them.
I didn't
Right.
notice that.
To indicate that they had been abstracted.
Mm.
But yeah, so I think my fair review of that would probably be 3.5 stars out of 5. And you notice I like the halves. It's because there's always room for improvement,
Yes.
but there's always room to fall. So
Okay, so I think for eXistenZ, I love the title. Honestly, you can't say it. I
I'm
love
gonna
it.
trip over it every time.
I literally love it because we were all thinking it was eXistenZ, and then they said it, and I was like, nice. And it's funny because they like one of like the first shots is like eXistenZ, and you spell it like this, and because we were talking about the title, so it's kind of fun. So I give it 3.5 because I liked it. It was better than disliking it, and not quite 4, but like good.
Better than
3.5.
Close Calls.
It's better than Close Calls, way better than Close Calls. I enjoy it. And then for the Amazing Digital Circus, honestly, I would give it 5 for a pilot. Because for a pilot, I feel like the job is to kind of like get you to watch the show. I wouldn't know. I feel like rating a pilot is going to be different than rating the show in its entirety.
That's fair.
But like as an intro to this world, like I said earlier, it made me like the characters, made me care for the main character, it made me intrigued. There's details I didn't even notice. So and you noticed that on purpose, but
I
also
think
that's indie too. So
It was more of my hang up was more of just like how the space was one cohesive space. Because I understand like it's animated and things can be kind of wacky, but it seemed like they were trying to have it be like a very clear layout. Because there's a point.
So I think that it was meant to feel disjointed.
Maybe, but there's a point where we see a wall get broken, and we get a very, very wide shot, and we see that broken wall, but we never see that broken wall from a different perspective. So it's for me, it's like which direction are we facing in relation to that thing that they have focused on several times. So it's like if they had done that, where it's like in the background you see the broken wall, I think I would have been like, okay, so that's that direction. We know that they're over here. Like that for me, having things be logically in space
But it
works
also
really well.
did the exit door make
The
any
exit door
sense
was-
in any logical
It led to the
space?
void.
Yes. So why does this space have to make any sense?
And like they even explained why it ended up going to the void,
Yes.
whether the guy's lying or not.
Right. Which I have a feeling he is not. I think he's a prisoner of his own
He
circus.
Maybe.
Honestly.
So maybe he is also trying to make an escape and he hasn't figured it out. Maybe he's also trying. That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
That'd be a good twist. I agree. Hunter.
But yeah. I guess I'll finish my.
You can finish.
Yeah.
You can keep saying
Go
stuff.
off.
I don't know. I like it. I really want to see the rest. But like as for a pilot, it just did a really good job at. Almost everyone really enjoyed it. We were laughing. It makes us question the world. We're like guessing what the plot would be, and yeah, I think as a pilot, it did a really good job of being a pilot.
Cool. I'm just gonna say, since the last thing we just said about was circus related.
What did I
Yeah.
say?
Just since you were talking about the circus for a second before I give my review of that, if you want to check out the show, it also like this didn't give it as justice with its animation. Yes, it still looked good, but there was like kind of like a lot of like stuff that the projector wasn't making.
That's
look as
fair.
good.
That's
But
fair,
also, I think it did really well with like the animation style in regards to it being a VR world because they really use the medium to its advantage with things glitching out and even in the beginning with things glitching out and things not making sense and things feeling weird and things feeling off. Like I feel like it was on purpose. I don't know. Their animation was great. Like it looks like it's comparable to that whole like Poppies whatever. Like one of those like you would think that it would be like a terrible 3D animation, but it's almost like used the terrible 3D animation vibes for budget reasons, but also probably to fit their vibe. Like it also thematically fits their vibe.
Yes, yeah, 100%. It the aesthetic of the world fits the theme of the world. So you're giving what a 0 out of 5?
So for eXistenZ, I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. I think pretty much.
So close calls. You
close,
rated close calls before.
That is.
So you rated
the
them
same
exactly
level
the
as
same.
So. I do rate them the same because I can't do like points except for
Hunter,
0.5 types of stuff.
House divided cannot stand.
I just thought it was like questionably cool, questionably amazing, whatever I said. With the TikTok that will probably be up at some point. And for the Amazing Circus, I'll probably give it a 4.5 for.
I rated it more than you.
No, that was unexpected.
So
I thought we were gonna get a 6 out of 5 out of it.
Don't get me wrong, I really love it, and like for some reason in my brain for like the indie animated thing, I think for me it's kind of hard to not compare it to the other indie anime, whether like it had any connection or not to it. It's just because there's just such a small amount of it, and it's just a lot easier to compare my feelings of what I felt about the other ones and stuff.
Oh, so you're saying you like those ones better?
Oh,
so this one can't. You're rating this based. Well, that makes sense. I mean, because you know what you like better, so therefore this can't be a 5 if you like something more than this.
Like I think for if anybody out there is kind of wanting to get more into the indie animation type of scene, especially on YouTube, I feel like this is definitely a lot easier type of way to get in than arguably with, I'm going to be honest, with Has Been or Hell of a Boss type of thing.
Yeah.
But if you're not into this, Lackadaisy is a really good one. Takes place in the 1920s during the Prohibition era about dancing cats. That has some characters that are.
Do they speak like people, or do they all like?
They do.
Meow, meow, meow.
They do
Meow, meow,
speak
meow.
like people.
Okay.
If you're very into like music stuff, it has impeccable
This
music.
is where Riley would bring up his cat story.
We're not talking about that. That was such. But last thing I'll say for Circus is that if you watch it and you want to promote it, but I feel like I need to specify they are not promoting this. There is no like bargain or anything. That
Yeah, they're not paying us.
they're not paying us.
We're not sponsored.
No, we're
All
not.
right. Cut the feed. Cut the feed.
They are currently having merchandise sold on their page. I think it's either on Glitch Productions website or literally called the Amazing Digital Circus, where it's just called the opening night merchandise. Because I think from all of our ratings, like I feel like it deserves to be even more well known and like
100%.
actually
I
get
want,
like a full
I wanna see
series
it.
at some
Yes.
point.
But if it's
Came out not too long after the company that actually picked it up was H14. The company that made like Everything Everywhere All at Once,
Oh, okay.
Midsummer. Literally just the letter A and then
You
2
don't know?
4.
But you said H.
no A.
Did I just mishear completely?
Yes.
I need to go see a doctor.
You're okay. I might have said it really quickly and stuff.
My
but
brain doesn't process
Like,
past
I
10
think-
o'clock.
pretty much like maybe within a year, they were like, we like this, we're gonna acquire this, and like so. It took forever for us to get it because we knew about that connection, like
Right,
as soon as it happened. And like, I guess I don't really know behind the scenes types of stuff with brand deal or whatever,
Well,
like connection types of things.
It's also incredibly difficult with indie animation to not necessarily get noticed because this, you're in this sphere and you're sharing with people, so people are seeing it, but enough for a larger entity, which this is what breaks my heart about animation and for animators, is that it pays nothing. It is so much work, and if you look at like content on like websites like Newgrounds and YouTube, and more to just people live action, because it's easier to create that content and it's easier just to get it out to hit algorithms. And for animators, they can't hit those algorithms, they can't hit those deadlines because it's. I'm not saying that live action stuff isn't real work, but it's work to make an animation.
Or like in relation to this, like kind of like pop culture that's happening right now, is I know Hunter, you've seen it, or I started to see it, and then I've seen it up until a point, and Brian has seen it, is 100.
I keep meaning to watch it. It looks very good.
And it's like one of those things where its theme is very much like, happened to the actual team creating 100, and with deadlines, they got postponed, and now when are we watching the second half of the season?
Right.
No one knows.
Yeah. That has been like a very, like specifically in the animation community, like not even just indie type stuff, but more like, I would say like more specifically with like Netflix types of series. Like I know there's something called Paranormal Park, and that
was so good.
There was something.
It was also animation.
There was some other thing. I think on Max it was maybe Infinity Train.
Yes.
That like those things got pulled for, I don't even know for what reason. Like maybe because like
live action one that was really good that got canceled is The OA, was also really good.
Oh, I've heard that. So, with context for Infinity Train, when Discovery and Max had their big merger, Discovery being the larger entity somehow, made a lot of changes with Max, HBO and Max and stuff. So they cut a lot of programming, especially animated programming. Now, what is the most heartbreaking thing about Infinity Train?
Is it still on Max?
No.
Really?
It's gone. The creator, because as I mentioned, it's hard to be an animator, signed away the rights to his creation. Can you
even watch it now?
You can't find it anywhere unless it's pirated. And this man,
I just knew about it. I really wanted to watch it.
He poured his whole being into it. This was his passion project. It finally got, backing by a studio. And then because some corporate bigwig said, "Oh, no, I don't like animation. I like Shark Week."
There was a very intense Shark Week.
And now this creator, his entire work and his entire passion's life, he was upset. He was very upset. The same thing happened with Uncle Grandpa, which I'm not a huge fan of Uncle Grandpa personally.
Why is that? What?
Why is it familiar?
Yes.
It was on Cartoon Network. It was a goofy show, but it was on Max streaming. They cut it because they didn't.
Did I like it?
I don't know. I didn't like it.
I can.
Why does that sound familiar?
I can strangely see you like.
It was very popular. Yes.
There was even like a crossover with multiple Cartoon Network shows. I think.
Yes, Steven Universe had a big one.
Wait. Did they have like a weird bus?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god! What?
It's all flooding back.
Oh my god! I don't think I liked it. But like, whoa, that was depths of my brain.
With
oh my
Uncle
god.
Grandpa, the series had concluded. It was over, and they were just having it there to stream. Well, when the Discovery Max merger occurred, they were like, "Well, we don't want to have to pay royalties to this guy," and they cut Uncle Grandpa, so they didn't have to pay royalties. And the creator posted I'll let you guys Google it, but posted a very interesting drawing he made of Uncle Grandpa in response. And it's heartbreaking. It is.
Have you seen it?
I have seen it.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're
I'm not going to bring it too much because
Yeah,
it's a sensitive subject. But it's one of those things where it's like, indie animators, they get found and they get produced, and 9 times out of 10, they're at the will of
almost every
the studio or something bigger.
Every story I've seen, most times it doesn't end well.
It's
even with that one animator, I know that
she also Powerpuff Girls, Foster's Home.
Maybe I think so, and like she also had her idea about a bunch of roller skating planets, and that's very much like
That's
Planet
awesome.
Girls,
I would love to see that.
and like I just the vibes. It seems like something I would really like, but I remember she left My Little Pony because differences, and she didn't want to keep doing what they were doing because they were becoming more like capitalist and wanting to do more projects.
Right.
I think with the whole I don't know too much about My Little Pony lore, but the special unicorn, the
Hunter,
special
are you okay
ponies,
over there?
I don't know a single thing about it.
the special ponies with the horns and
Unicorns?
Like a Pegasus.
Pegasus.
she knows, they know Alticorns. Yes,
Excuse me?
Alticorns.
Alticorn? So wait, okay, so
I don't
alright.
know.
It had a horn, and did it have wings?
Yes.
So it's an Alticorn?
Listen, I don't know. It's just Alticorn. Add a rainbow, paste a freaking wing on it.
Yeah, there was something. So they were
I
extra
can't keep
cool.
up with this.
They were extra cool. So
They were extra cool.
they wanted to make all of the main character turn, like they wanted to make the more characters turn into him to sell more
More toys and
because
things,
those
yeah.
were the cooler ones. And
No,
she
I
was
know,
like,
it's
"You're
like
ruining my story," and
Yeah.
she left. I'm pretty sure. I'm paraphrasing.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, so animators are especially sensitive to the powers that fund their projects. So that's why with like these kind of things, these smaller animators, Patreon, and other
Like
media,
Patreon, Kickstarter.
like they're so important. But yeah, so if you have an animator that you like, drop it in the chat. Let us know. We will absolutely take recommendations on what to watch. We love watching things.
I will say with
Can you
the...
send me the link up to a pirated Infinite?
You can do Google for that.
I know. I'm too
I
scared
don't
to do
pirate
it
things.
myself.
I'm a good boy. I'm the
You're
man.
just sad.
So you need to be careful of wisdom you did not earn. And this is wisdom I did not earn. So I can't pretend to know everything about it, because then I'm going to get called out. But
Okay,
I
well,
know
you're getting
this
called
about
out.
it.
Okay,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
fair.
Bringing up the fact of like, oh, when something gets taken over, like they have to kind of abide by with it. So with the creator of Has Been, Vivian Madrano, Vivzy Pop on YouTube, whatever way you want to look up. So Has Been Hotel is acquired by A24. Like that's a given. Like they kind of have to work with them and abide with it. We don't know too much of how much it's been affected and stuff, but they have their spin-off Hell of a Boss, which takes place in the same world as
Where can you watch that?
Hell of a Boss. You can watch fully on YouTube. On
Okay.
on Vivzy Pop. That's the
What's
YouTube
the full
channel.
URL?
Oh God, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff.
www.youtube.com/.
But Hell of a Boss is like such a like having a full series on YouTube. So like they have like something that had like a big company has taken over. I don't want to say taken over, but like is working together with.
Right.
But they're also able to have an ongoing thing that they. The reason why they actually have like some well-known voices and stuff. Like, no, you're good. They have, I don't know his name, but one of the main characters, his name is Moxie, and he's voiced by the same guy who did Invader Zim.
Okay.
Brendan Rogers is arguably the main character. I just heard a random thing, I guess, and I got distracted. And
We're talking very much about this topic.
Yes.
I think we could probably I feel like we could keep going. Hour after you're supposed to leave, so I think we should.
It's 11:26.
We're gonna end it.
Okay.
And we
in
can
the middle of
continue.
listing stuff.
So Hunter will list things on his own somewhere. We'll come back to that
I
next
have
week.
just two more to say.
He had two more. Let's get through.
okay,
Let's get
okay,
through.
okay, okay,
Yeah, come on.
okay.
Lay it on us.
So, if you ever seen Beetlejuice the musical, Alex Brightman,
Okay.
Beetlejuice, he's
I have the
also,
vinyl for it, actually.
He's that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a voice of
Stop. We're gonna keep talking.
a
so
recurring
go.
character, and Kesha is in it too.
Kesha?
Kesha.
Yeah, Kesha.
Oh
No,
my gosh.
see, you can't just list things because those are things that we can keep talking.
See us flourish like we want to see Hunter's animators flourish. Share this show with your friends. Tell them about it. Let everybody know. Ring those bells. And we'll get back to you next week.
And then you guys can just say potentially ideas of what you want us to watch, like
We will take suggestions.
indie animated, movie wise.
Cult
I would say,
classics.
yeah, specifically but I would say probably not TV shows. That's probably
Let's.
Or if you want to recommend shows anyways, because maybe I can watch it on my free time.
Yeah, free
you're welcome-
time.
Yeah.
You're welcome
and then
to.
we can use this as like maybe have like a little snippet of like, oh, what have we watched in our free time?
Right. Yeah, we're affable to anything.
This is arguably one of the best live streams I think we've done.
It's because James here.
Oh, don't.
No,
I'm
honestly,
not taking credit.
no, you're-
It's because of David Cronenberg's 1999 film eXistenZ.
Okay, repeat after me. eXistenZ.
So it's supposed to be existential, right?
That's
This is
pretty
where you
close.
start
That's
to
close.
fade
That's
it.
close.
Just start to fade.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in.